that. Share.
Hopefully, I'll get my on-air sign here soon so I can get my background looking nice and tight.
Tight.
Tight, tight, tight.
Biker.
Let me retweet this if I can find it.
Same.
Retweet.
Come on, Twitter.
Close that out. Got all my tabs open. All right, I think
Retweet.
we're good to go.
Yeah, I got all the tabs open and everything, so I am all set.
Fantastic. All right, we got Twitch going. All right, got audio hijack ready. All my levels are up. All right. But this one won't hit it. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Do you like this show and you want to help support us? Do you want us to stay ad-free? Do you want extra episodes every month? Of course you do. Well, then head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. Become a Patreon supporter of this very show. Programs from our new night, Wednesday night. Well, actually our old night. We're back. We're back to Wednesdays for the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
My name is Derek Diamond.
And we have our monthly community spotlight tonight. And we have with us the fact checker to the fact checker, Mr. Tyler Watson.
Heyo, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Like I said, about an hour ago, because I got my second COVID shot yesterday, so now I'm starting to feel chills, lightheaded, aches. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a fun show. Let's do this.
Man.
Yeah.
The best time to do a show.
I get my second shot next Monday, this coming up Monday, and I'm kind of dreading it, honestly. Like because I had some not bad reactions to the first one, but I definitely had like a very sore arm for about 3 days, which spread into my my shoulder area, and my collarbone felt like it was on fire. And then I slept for like 13 and a half hours one night. So it was interesting. So I'm waiting to see what the next one has in store for me.
Yeah, I'm getting my first shot tomorrow, so I get my first venture into the vaccine.
You know what you're getting? Are you getting Moderna or Pfizer? Pfizer?
The Pfizer.
The Pfizer.
Pfizer. Yep. So looking forward to that, though. I mean, they just became available here in Florida, so as soon as the eligibility signed up, I was like, sign me up, and I got the earliest time that I could.
Awesome. So Tyler has
Yo.
one of the has the dream video game collection. I have seen a couple of times, and it's huge. It's humongous. Like, look at that. That's just one corner of his room.
That's my Transformer shelf.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a cardboard cutout of Thor from the first movie, and I've got we've got a pair of Haunted Mansion Mickey ears on him, because my theory is that of all the MCU characters, Thor would be the one to most embrace his Disneyness.
Probably, yeah.
I agree with that.
But one thing I wanted to ask you, like, when did you start collecting, or was it just kind of one of those things like you just started playing video games when you were young and just kept buying stuff?
A little from column A, a little from column B. Like, I got my NES for Christmas of 1990 when I was 5, and I just kind of fell in love with games then, and just kind of got them where I could. And as I got older and got money, I was like, all right, I'll just buy what I want at this point. And I lost the majority of the stuff that I had after I moved out of my mom's house in the early 2000s, and then about 2012, 2011, somewhere in there, I was like, you know what? I want to play an NES again, and that was just kind of it.
That's fantastic.
How much would you say that you've spent on retro gaming stuff in the last 8 years, 9 years?
That's a loaded question, and I don't think I want to freely answer that. I mean, I've definitely paid market value and above for some things. And there's some things I've gotten deals on. There was one Saturday I went to go hang out with a friend of mine that I'd made from one of the local buy sell trade groups,
Mhm.
and we're like, let's go hit up a couple of not flea markets, a couple of yard sales. Let's just see what we can find. We go to we go to Pascagoula. We find this one guy. And he's like, yeah, we go and we dig through his stuff, and there's just mountains of NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, Sega CD, Sega Saturn. He had a complete in box Atari Jaguar. There's box Japanese N64 games, and the guy knew what he had. He's like, yeah, I know what this is worth. He said, but I'm moving soon. I don't want to take it with me. And we raided that place. Like I spent $60, and I think it's worth what I got from that one day is probably worth a couple of thousand.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
Like
the dream. That's the
I got a
dream.
copy got a copy of Lords of Thunder for Sega CD as part of that bundle. So as much as I got for $60, I probably paid $3 or $4 for it, and that's almost a $350 game now.
Wow.
that's insane.
Fun game too, real fun, worth every dime.
That's the dream, is to hit a yard sale where somebody's like, look, I know what this stuff is worth, and there's a bunch of stuff, and they're just like, I just need to get rid of it. And I would literally just be like, look, I'll give you $200 to just take all of it. And they're like, okay, that's the dream.
Yeah,
How
the
quickly
guy I
can you
was
get
with,
the money out of your wallet?
Yeah.
yeah, I literally I had to make a run to the bank, and I was like, all right. I told my wife, I was like, look, I'm getting a little bit extra out of the bank. The guy was gonna pay me back, and he did. Took a little bit, but he paid me back. And I was like, he's just like, okay. And we just went and we spent all that money on it. I think he paid probably about $90 for his lot, and I think he sold that box Jaguar for about 250, 300.
Nice little profit.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, me being the hoarder, I probably would have held on to it, but that's just me. I have those bad tendencies,
Same
as
here.
evidence.
I don't sell anything either when it comes to my retro gaming stuff. I mean, I still have my Atari from 1983, so I don't get rid of anything. I've been bad about that in the past. Like, I sold my GameCube. Like, around the mid 2000s, like around 2005, is when I got to the point where I started selling stuff. Like my newer consoles, like my original Xbox and my GameCube, and I'd kick myself now for doing that, because at the time I was like, I'm never gonna play this stuff again. And luckily, I didn't get stupid and like get rid of my NES and Super Nintendo and all that kind of stuff.
We all get like that. I mean, I sold my NES edition Game Boy Advance SP a few years back just because it was a bill that had to be paid. So
Yeah,
sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll buy that back. And I'm like, that's now $90 by itself, and it's not the backlit Game Boy. I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'll be all right.
yeah,
But yeah, there's a few DS games that I was like, hey, I've played this, I've beaten it. I'm probably not going to play this again. Let me turn it into GameStop, for $15, and now there's a few games I've been eyeballing on eBay that are those exact same games, and now it's $80 if you want it. And I was like, oh man.
yeah. GameStop had made a few good bit of profit off of me in the mid 2000s. So damn you, GameStop.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. You walk in with your armful of games, and they're like shark smelling blood in the water.
I remember one time I went in there with a bunch of Xbox games, like original Xbox, and I remember it must have been like 10 or 12 games. I think I got like $20 for the whole thing. I'm like, if I could go back in time and just stop myself from doing this.
That's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
That's not surprising at all.
But Tyler is a huge part of our community, which is we talk about our community a lot, the Discord community that we have, and Tyler's over there. Been there since the beginning, I think, or close to the beginning. And, yeah. And you are the fact checker to the fact checker, so we need you. We need you in that room. So.
It's funny because we have so many fact checkers, yet we still get a ton of stuff wrong.
Yeah.
Because I've always said never let facts get in the way of a good story. So
what did we get wrong last
like
week that Wally hit us over on Twitter? Let me go to the Twitter machine and see what Wally corrected us on last week.
I listened to the episode a couple of days ago and I caught something, and now for the life of me I can't remember what it was.
The only thing I've seen on Twitter is you guys fighting over Easter candy.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's been a big one the last couple of days because we'll have to get Wally on the show because we had a big fight the last few days over what's better, hollow chocolate bunnies or solid chocolate bunnies. Personally, I like the hollow chocolate bunnies because they got the candy eyes. It's a better quality chocolate. You know, you can sit there and just break off pieces of it and eat it. The solid chocolate bunnies are the Easter candy that I would always be disappointed over, and I would maybe eat the ears off of it, and then it would just sit in the candy bowl until Mom eventually threw it away like 4 or 5 years later. Be like, are you going to eat this? I'm like, no. I'm throwing it away. Okay.
I remember when I was a kid, I would get the hollow chocolate bunny every year for Easter.
It's like and the solid one is a lower quality chocolate. It's not as good as the hollow bunny. You may get less chocolate, but it's a higher quality chocolate.
I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I've had either.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had one in like 30 years, but I remember, even to this day, I could tell just by looking at the chocolate bunnies that I would prefer that hollow bunny over the solid bunny as it is.
We'll have to make a note of this, and this time next year on the show when it's Easter, we should just gorge on. Not that people would want to watch us eat, but
actually, let's just do it on the show. We'll have Wally on the show. All of us will go buy a solid Easter bunny and a hollow Easter bunny. We'll eat them on the air, and we'll see which one is better.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to say that hollow's better. Wally's going to say that solid's better. And I'm going to say I like both.
Yeah. Oh, he said the all your base are belong to us meme is from Zero Wing, not Metal Gear.
That was the one.
I could have sworn that was from Metal Gear.
Yeah, Zero Wing was a shooter game for the Genesis that never got released here. The only translation it got was in Europe, and it got a very broken English translation. So that's how you got, someone set up us the bomb, and all your base are belong to us.
Well, Metal Gear had really bad translations too.
That's why the original one was terrible. Like, I feel asleep.
Yeah, I feel asleep.
Do you really feel asleep?
That was the big one to me. They show that. I see that all the time. I feel asleep. Like, oh, okay, that's not good translation.
That first Metal Gear is terrible. If you're playing the NES version, I've heard the MSX computer version, the original, is much better, but I don't have access to that, nor do I have the Metal Gear collection they put out on the PS3 that has the MSX version on it. So the NES is the only one that I've got.
Well, one of these days I'm going to go back and review Metal Gear, but it's going to be a while because, like I said, I hate stealth games, and I imagine stealth on the NES is probably atrocious.
It just sounds brutal.
It sounds like not a good time at all.
No.
But
not at all.
We got a few news stories to get to and talk over. Would you guys like to go to the news?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Listen, email to us from I Am the Rampage, or Scooter, as he is now known.
Scooter McGee.
Scooter McGee.
Scooter McGavin.
on Polygon.com. Rare Super Mario Brothers. We actually talked about this last week. That Super Mario Brothers cartridge, complete in box, sold for $660,000, the highest price ever for a video game. It is the highest priced video game collectible ever. The previous holder was the prototype Nintendo PlayStation, was sold through Heritage Auctions in 2020 for $360,000. The previous record holder for a video game, a copy of Super Mario Bros. 3, that sold for $156,000 in November of 2020. This was factory sealed, rated 9.6 by WADA, and it still had its retail hang tab, does not have a trademark symbol, and is part of an extremely low print run. And from what I read earlier, I think this was like the fourth printing of this title. And this is a lot of money for one game.
Ugh.
What
I
could
could do a
we
lot more with that money.
I was about to say the same thing. What could you do with 660 grand?
I mean, is this really worth that much money? Because there's got to be dozens of these out in the wild that are still in this good a shape. I mean, I think it's the collector's market. Things are only worth what people are willing to pay for it. But I think when you have something like this, you see this go for this amount of money, there's going to be people out there that'll be like, hey, I got one of those, or, somebody found a bunch of these in some warehouse when a Kmart shut down back in the 90s or something. It's kind of like, there's got to be more than like a couple of these. There's got to be dozens, if not hundreds of these out in the wild. Rampage in the chat room.
But still, if somebody's willing to pay that much,
I think the bad part is that it's gonna empower all the people to think that their trash mobs are worth solid gold,
Yeah.
and they ignore all the other qualifiers involved with why this one went for so much.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be they're gonna have buyer's remorse over this, because I mean, this is over $500,000 for something that I think is not as rare as they say it is. I don't think this is this is not a Superman #1. This is not first appearance of Batman or Spider-Man. This is a video game made in the 80s. There were millions of these made and printed. There's got to be some in this shape that are still around. Just nobody knows that it's worth this much, and then you're going to get the market flooded. That's my prediction, is the market's going to get flooded with these pretty soon. And like you said, the people that have crap and think it's going to be worth, people are going to be trying to sell, loose Super Mario Brothers carts for $20, $30, $40 now, and they're worth like $3.
Well, I think the thing too that surprises me, and I figured something eventually would break the price that the Nintendo PlayStation set. We figured it all would happen eventually, but I'm surprised that it was for a copy of Super Mario Brothers. Like you said, and I think you're right. I think this isn't as rare as people think it is. I thought it might be some other type of rare game, but the fact that it's Super Mario Brothers and it's got little details or whatever that seem like it's unique, but again, if somebody's going to throw down that type of cash for it, it's going to set a trend.
Yeah.
I would love to just sit in the auction room while this is going on, like not to bid, but just to watch people throw insane amounts of cash for this thing.
I think this is going to have the same. This is basically what comic books went through in the 90s, and it's a bubble and it's going to burst. Just the question is when something breaks 1 million, is it going to then burst? I don't know.
We'll see.
Hoping it soon so it drives some of these prices down.
No kidding. I'm ready to go back and buy $5 Nintendo games again.
I remember walking into Game Exchange in Pascagoula in 2004 talking with, just hanging out there. I would just go hang out and talk with the guy who worked there. But buying the original Mega Man loose for $5, and
Yeah.
10 years ago, I'm like, man, I'm gonna go buy Mega Man again. I paid $5 for that not too long ago, and then by then it was already 50, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, we're not gonna do that either.
Yeah.
Mixed Masters in the chat room too. What's up, guys? Yeah, Rampage said his broken NES is worth $80,000. Yeah, I wish.
If only. But our next story is an email from Armez Jackson and comes to us from retrododo.com. Infinity Game Boy Color game releases after 20 years of development. One of the things that excites the Retro Dodo team the most is new games for our favorite retro consoles, which is why this Infinity Game Boy Color release has us feeling like Christmas came early. After 20 years in development, it is finally coming to the Game Boy Color. And I want to say we talked about this
We did.
a while back on the show.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a little bit of like like almost like a Link to the Past
Mm-hmm.
or like early Legend of Zelda type of feel to it. And it's got a couple of screen caps here on the article, but you can look at it and you'll instantly be reminded of Legend of Zelda. I would love to get a copy of this because these are games that are right up my alley. And it's just so fascinating to me that the retro gaming community is so popular that this game, after 20 years of being dormant essentially, is available.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
It says their Kickstarter campaign is going to launch in June, and they will release Q1 of 2022. So somewhere between January and March, they're going to be releasing this thing.
I got to get a copy of it.
Yeah, I think so. Even though I don't have a Game Boy Color, I just want to be able to buy a new like retro Nintendo game.
Wonder if it comes with the old booklet too.
Probably. Looks like it. They got a lot of pics in this article. So if you go to retrododo.com, you can see a lot of pics of the game. It looks a lot like a Final Fantasy type of game.
Yeah. There's also a teaser video on the article as well. So if you want to see some video, check that out too.
Just warms my heart.
Right.
Another email from I Am the Rampage. Metroid Prime 2D demo was released. This is on retrorgb.com. A team of people have been working on a 2D version of the GameCube game Metroid Prime. A beta version is available that lets you get a few items as well as get a sense of what the game is like. There's a direct download link here, so you can actually get the game. Let's see. The game was tested to run on Windows 10, 64-bit, which is how the person who wrote this article ran it. People have mixed results running it on other operating systems. It can run full screen or in a windowed resolution. That's about what you'd expect from widescreen 240p. Seem to scale well on the laptop's 1080p screen, as well as when connected to a 4K TV. Let's see. Game itself was awesome. Graphics and sound were top-notch, and it played like an official Metroid 2D title. The demo is big enough to get some upgrades, and there's at least one boss, however, due to the controls. Stopped about halfway through the demo. Must be some issues with the controls for it. This sounds really cool. I don't know if I would do the beta, and I don't know how they're going to release this, but maybe Nintendo will come and knock it and be like, hey, can we buy this from you and polish it up?
And Nintendo's going to come and knock it and say, shut this down now.
Yep.
You might want to get on the beta because that's about probably all you're going to be able to play of it.
Yeah. I think Nintendo's going to put the kibosh on this because they're like Disney. When you do something with their property, they come stomping.
3 words: ceased and desist.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the artwork I did with the for the Nerd Cave Retro, the old NES black box artwork I did for the show, which I didn't think Nintendo would come and knocking, but they did. It made me take it down. So
I saw that.
Whew, don't like that. And that's just for old artwork, like old 80s black box artwork. They shut it down.
That makes me want to use it as our show logo even more now.
I know.
But no, as someone who's a fan of the Metroid Prime game, and I'm one that I'm not a Metroid purist in the sense that there were a lot of people upset when this was a first person shooter. I personally liked it that way. I thought it added a cool new dynamic to the Metroid franchise, but in a perfect world, would I love to play Metroid Prime in 2D? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll play anything Metroid at this point. Just give me something Metroid. Anything. I'll take it.
It's okay. We'll get Metroid Prime 4 in 2023.
Yeah, I'll be dead by then.
Well, don't say that.
We're gonna get that in a new F-Zero in the same year.
Yeah, exactly. I'll believe it when I see it. When I'm playing it, I'll be like, "Oh, Nintendo released a Metroid game. Nice."
One day.
One day.
One day it'll happen. But this last story, and it made me so happy when I saw this posted in the Discord from arstechnica.com. 99 Pac-Man enter, 1 Pac-Man leaves. In new Switch freebie, Pac-Man 99. We've talked about Tetris 99, Mario Brothers 35, those types of games. Well, Pac-Man is getting that treatment now. Nintendo Switch continues its streak of retro battle royale video games this week by asking a remarkably weird question. What would Pac-Man be like if 99 people played the game at the same time and only one pellet muncher emerged victorious? The new game, creatively titled Pac-Man 99, arrives on the evening of Wednesday, April 7th, so we can all play this after we're done with the show. As a free download for paying subscribers to the Nintendo Switch online service. Its resemblance to 2019's Tetris 99 and 2020 Super Mario 35 is no accident since it's been designed with the same NintendoWare Basil engine used in those other games. I watched some gameplay of it. I think it looks like a load of fun, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm downloading this tonight.
I'm so down for this because I love Pac-Man. Pac-Man Championship Edition is still one of my favorite versions of Pac-Man. So if they have anything close to like a Pac-Man Championship Edition style game in here, I'm going to be in heaven.
Oh, that'll definitely probably be one of the skins for it, just like they have with Tetris 99. I guarantee you a Championship Edition skin's coming.
I wish they would release the Championship Edition, the original Championship Edition, for the Switch. I don't know why they haven't.
There is.
There is.
It's a compilation. It's a compilation. My wife bought a Namco collection on the Switch about a couple months ago. Pac-Man Championship Edition, I think 1 and 2, I think, are on it, along with like Dig Dug and Original Pac-Man and Galaga and all that good stuff.
I need it in my life because I downloaded Championship Edition 2 for the Switch when it came out, but it was not nearly as good as the first Championship Edition. The first one it's like crack. It's so good.
I'll agree to that. Yeah, the first one sucked me in, but we got the second one on the PlayStation also, and I just couldn't get behind it. Yeah. It's fun, but it just didn't bring me in like the first one did.
It doesn't have that serotonin hit or whatever like that you get whenever you just line up like 100 ghosts behind you and you hit the pellet and you just like a machine gun through the ghost. Like there's nothing more satisfying on planet Earth than doing that.
My body is absolutely riddled with Pac-Man fever.
Pac-Man fever.
Yeah, we got time to do some this month in video game history. Let's go into it.
Sure.
You mentioned Dig Dug a minute ago. On April 19th of 1982, it was released by Namco, manufactured by Atari in North America.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I wonder if after this they're gonna do, instead of when Pac-Man goes away, Pac-Man 99 goes away. I wonder if they'll do Dig Dug 99.
Oh my God. I would love that.
Showing off for Pac-Man. They were showing off all the different skins for it. And like there was a Dig Dug and a Galaga one, and I think a Tower of Draga.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so cool.
So for Christmas, I got one of those mini arcade one-up cabinets. It's like the Pac-Man Anniversary Edition or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
it actually has Dig Dug on that, and I
Oh.
honestly I like playing it just as much as Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Dig Dug is so fun.
Dig Dug's one of those games I love playing it like in an arcade cabinet, but I don't like playing it like on the Nintendo or any sort of like console. Like I like playing it on a stand-up machine. Like I like those controls. I don't know, it just feels better.
It fits more with what the game is.
Yeah.
In April of 1984, Namco releases Gapless, the sequel to Galaga.
Gapless. I don't
Such a
remember
great name.
Gapless. I thought the sequel to Galaga was called something. I think we talked about this last year. We're starting to repeat ourselves, I think.
Yeah, because it was
Oh,
Galaxian, Galaga, and Gapless.
That's what I was thinking. Galaxian. I thought it
yeah,
was Galaxian. Yeah.
we've talked about all three of them, I think.
Yeah. I
Gapless
love
sounds like the name of a Disney villain.
the Galaga machine they have at our local arcade at Margaritaville. Have you played that, Tyler? The giant
Yeah,
Galaga machine?
yeah, that, and we've played the giant Space Invaders and all that.
Yeah.
My wife and I, for our anniversary 2 years ago, my wife and I went to Margaritaville and got some pictures done, and so we've got pictures of us playing all of those, playing Galaga, playing the giant Pac-Man and the giant Space Invaders, and
Yeah. I love that giant Space Invaders machine. They're also like the giant machines. I like playing the world's largest Pac-Man machine. Like that thing's so cool. Love it. And they have a Star Wars pod in there too, which is awesome.
Oh,
that's
nice.
fun. But I am terrible at that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's way harder than you think it would be. Let's see. April 1988, another Namco release. They released Assault, which may be the first game to use hardware rotation of sprites in the background. Yep, we talked about this last year because I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, I recognize the arcade screenshot.
Yeah. Looks like a cool game. It looks like a souped up version of oh man, what's the name of that game? The Pac-In game for the Atari 2600. Kombat? Yeah.
Yeah, with the tanks.
Yeah, it looks like a modern version of Kombat, which I would play that.
On April 15th of 1995, Midway releases Mortal Kombat 3 in arcades. I feel like 3 gets a little forgotten when it comes to talking about the Mortal Kombat series because
Yeah.
people love the second one, and of course the original is going to get credit because it was the original. But no one ever really talks about Mortal Kombat 3. But I personally haven't played it in quite some time.
Yeah, I haven't
Especially because
either.
it gets outshined by the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think honestly, I think Mortal Kombat 2 was still the best. I mean, maybe not now. I haven't played any of the recent Mortal Kombat. The last one I played was Mortal Kombat versus DC, where you could play like Green Lantern and Aquaman, which honestly, Aquaman was kick ass in that game. Like he was one of the best characters you could use in that game.
That was a lot of fun to play. I haven't played the most recent one, but one that came out, I want to say it might have been late 2000s or early 2010s for the Xbox 360. I played that one, but that was the last
Yeah,
one I played.
that's the last one I played as well. That was technically, it was just called Mortal Kombat, but it was Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah. And it was a fun game.
Yeah. I got to Shao Kahn right at the end, and after about 40 losses, I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done here. Shut it off and never went back to it.
As he said, don't make me laugh.
Yeah, Mixmaster said he loves Baraka. I love Baraka too. That was my go-to for Mortal Kombat 2. People hated when I played Baraka.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually really looking forward to the new movie.
Me too.
Yes. He makes an ice dagger out of the dude's blood and stabs him with it. What? Come on, man. How can you not be excited?
This is the Mortal Kombat movie we've been waiting for decades.
Yes.
My wife she's so excited about this one. She's like, I've never seen the original one. I'm like, all right, we got to find it, and it's not streaming anywhere. And I'm like, all right, I just got to hunt down a DVD somewhere so we can watch this.
I think you can rent it on Amazon. Isn't that where we rented it, or did we watch it streaming somewhere?
I remember getting it on Amazon Prime.
I think we did rent it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I have the VHS too, so
Nice.
On April 30th, of 1997, Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is released for Microsoft Windows. Man, I loved these games back in the day. I had the badass like stick for my flight stick for my computer. I bought specifically to play the Star Wars X-Wing and TIE Fighter games. They were so good.
I remember seeing those like giant joysticks that you're talking about that you'd hook up to your computer. I remember those being very prevalent
Yeah.
in electronic stores. Like they were just so massive, you couldn't miss them.
It had like 800 buttons on it. I didn't know what any of them did.
Yep.
I would just use the trigger and, the torpedo button, basically. 2 buttons.
You had like 3 buttons on one side of the stick.
Yeah.
You had 3 on the other side, and you had 2 2 at the bottom,
Yeah.
2 on the side. Like, what do these do?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hitting stuff. Which is how
It's
I
a
play video
button-
games to this day.
A button masher's dream.
My favorite memory of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter is we went over to a friend of my mom's house, and her kid had a computer, and he had it. And we plays the TIE Advance because it was the only one with a hyperdrive. And we'd go out, complete the mission, blow up all the rebels, and it's like, all right, return to the Star Destroyer to complete the mission. We'd turn around and start firing on the Star Destroyer, and it would take like 15 to 20 minutes of you constantly circling it and shooting it before it would blow up. Well, now you had no way to complete the mission, which is why you had the hyperdrive, because as soon as you press that, you take off and it automatically ends the mission for you. So that's all we would do is we would just blow up all the rebels, then turn turncoat and just hyperdrive out.
That's awesome.
I love that. Let's see. Our last story for this month in video game history. In April of 2000, Nintendo sells its 100 millionth Game Boy
Jeez.
/ Game Boy Color handheld console.
Oof.
That's a lot of Game Boys.
Yeah, it is. Wonder how
But I
many
mean,
of them
honestly,
are still playable.
So I went to the flea market on Saturday and I saw one, but it was in really bad condition, so I didn't get it. But I was looking at it and I was like, I forgot how big these things were.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this thing, like you could hurt somebody with that thing.
hmm
I know I still have my original Game Boy somewhere at my mom's house. I have to dig for it. The only game I had for it was Link's Awakening, but I'd still like
You
to
didn't need
find
much
it.
else.
Yeah. Rampage said Mortal Kombat 1995 is on Peacock for free right now. So
Really?
You can go watch it
Ooh.
on Peacock.
Heck
Mm.
yeah.
All right. We will do that this weekend then.
Yes. Don't bother with part 2. 2 is
No.
terrible.
No, that's a god awful movie.
That is.
Feel your animality. What?
I still want to do a commentary track for that movie.
I don't know if I can take it, honestly.
I mean, we made it through Double Dragon.
That's what I was going to say.
You can make it through Double Dragon. You can make it through anything.
Double Dragon was hard enough. Trying to get through Mortal Kombat 2. Eek.
But Tyler, you can watch Mortal Kombat before WrestleMania this weekend.
Technically, yeah. I haven't watched WWE in so long. I still follow. Like my TV will still record AEW Dynamite every week, but because
Yeah.
our Fire Sticks, the remote's busted, I can't actually go and watch it. So I've got months of recordings built up.
Oh, jeez. That sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah. Betrayed
So
by
I
your
still
own
keep up with it
technology.
without actually watching it.
Yeah, I do pretty much the same. I want to watch the Hall of Fame ceremony, and then I'll watch WrestleMania, but I haven't been following it nearly like I have been in the last few years.
Yeah, I mean.
Speaking of which, has anyone grabbed that Retromania Wrestling yet? I haven't gotten
Not
it yet.
We have to do
I've-
that because we're gonna both review it. We're gonna do a dual review of that.
I've downloaded it, but I haven't started it yet. I've been playing the new Crash Bandicoot.
I need to follow up with the company too because they were supposed to let me know when it was going to be released so I could get a couple of codes to give away.
Sweet.
on the show. So I need to follow back up with them.
I'm excited to play it though.
Oh yeah, me too. Especially if we can play it online and play each other. That's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
I'll try not to turn heel on you.
Yeah. Before we go into the review for tonight, Derek has shout outs.
Yes, as always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Armez Jackson, AxeBlade07, Daniel Salmon, John Jekyll, aka Mixmaster, Carlos Longoria, Staff Sergeant Sketch, Randy Bailey, our guest tonight, Mr. Tyler Watson, Justin Olson, Brandon Rutledge, Donner Party of Five, Gus and Penny, and Jason May. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Show. And because you've kept us at the $50 level, we will continue to do fun commentary tracks like our most recent, where we did an episode of The Real Ghostbusters and The Muppet Show.
That was fun.
So, yeah, I enjoyed especially going back and watching The Muppet Show because I haven't watched
Yeah.
The Muppet Show in a long time.
I love the Muppet Show so much.
Yeah.
I just need a show about what's the two guys that sit up in the
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
I just need a show about them. Just those two, just like a Beavis and Butthead style show of them just like watching. They could just like watch like TikTok videos and YouTube videos and just make fun of people, and I would watch that for half an hour.
Those two are my spirit animal.
Yeah, they are. And tonight we're going to be talking about Journey to Silius, known in Japan as Rough World. Don't know what that means. Rough World. That's not.
I mean, it is a rough world.
Yeah, and that is a terrible name for a video game. It's a side-scrolling run-and-gun video game developed and published by Sunsoft for the NES in 1990. It was originally, and the reason I want to talk about this game is because it was originally based on the Terminator, the original Terminator film, but the licensing rights to the film were lost during development, so the graphics and storyline were altered to accommodate this change, which honestly, the storyline didn't get changed all that much. It really didn't. I mean, you look at the beginning, it's like, yep, this was a Terminator game. The player controls Jay McCrae as he goes on a mission to defeat the terrorist group responsible for his father's death. There are 5 stages consisting of the ruins of a space colony, an underground concourse, the enemy's hideout, a flying spaceship, and a factory. The player must fight his way through an assortment of robotic enemies and security systems in order to reach the end of the stage and fight the stage's boss. It's called a run-and-gun video game, but it's not really. The thing about this game is it's more of a platformer. And it's definitely the kind of game that's based on memorization and your skill level. Like, the better you get at the game, the better you're going to be. It's a frustrating game, but it's not so frustrating that it makes you want to stop playing. It's definitely one of those games where, you know, you're going through, and it's definitely a shooter, but it has more platforming aspects to it, so you got to kind of, you know, as you go through the stage and you keep dying, but you're kind of like, okay, well, I know what to do next time I get to the spot, so if I jump here, I know that this thing's going to pop out of the ground, and I have to jump and then squat and shoot it, or it's going to knock me off the ledge, that type of thing, where it's kind of like, it's like I said, it's more about memorization as you go through the levels, and like I said, the story... you know, you get a huge kind of, not a huge, but you get a bit of a cut scene at the beginning telling you about, you know, the world's been destroyed and all this stuff. And you look at the backgrounds and you can definitely tell that this was once if you play this game thinking that, okay, this is a Terminator game, it's kind of cool, actually. Like, I think this game, if it would have, and this game is available on the Switch on the NES store. It's one of the games that's available for the NES on the Switch, and I think this is one of those games that's kind of a lot of people know about it, but it's one of those games that I think if it had retained the Terminator license, I think it would be a very well remembered licensed game, honestly. I think if this had retained the Terminator license, this would probably be the best licensed game of the NES era.
That's funny enough. That's actually what I was thinking about too, because I was looking at a few of the screen caps, and by the backgrounds, you can definitely tell the influence
Yeah.
of the Terminator. So it would have been interesting had it kept the Terminator license, and would it be more remembered? Like, would it be revered as one of the best film adaptations of video games ever made,
Yeah.
or definitely for that time?
Have you ever played it, Tyler? Have you ever played this game?
Yeah, I've got a copy of it here. I got it as part of that big yard sale find I mentioned earlier. I've got the game and the manual. I've played through the first stage or two of it. Really fun, real good. And
Yeah.
like I said, you can definitely see that they didn't change a whole lot. Instead of the Terminator, it's the Toyminator.
Yeah. Like, and it's so weird. And there's really not much you can find as far as what happened and why they lost the license. And I don't really understand why, because I think if who owned the rights to the Terminator? Was it it wasn't Universal, was it? But
Yeah,
Mm,
it was originally owned by what was it called? Calico Films or whatever, something like that. But or if it even if it was Universal that had the rights by this time, they were working on Terminator 2 at the time, and I think if whoever had the rights would have seen this, would have been like, yeah, this is a good game to release along with the upcoming Terminator 2, which was coming out like this came out in North America in September. Terminator 2 came out the next summer, like
yep.
not even a full year later. So I think if this had the Terminator license, and with the hype surrounding Terminator 2 at this time, dude, this would have went through the roof, I think.
they could have just gotten outbid for the license because I think there is a just an actual Terminator game on the NES, and then not long after this there was one for the Sega CD.
Yeah, well, it was by LJN, and it's awful. It's terrible.
As are
It's
most
so
things with that
bad.
dreaded rainbow label.
Yeah, that's actually it's a warning label is what the LJN label is. But I have a lot of
Thankfully, I
fun
never had to
playing
experience
this
that.
game. I have it. It's like I said, it's really hard. And it is definitely worth your time to play. I'm only on level 4. I haven't finished the game yet, but it's taken me a while to get to level 4. But I just love the look of the game. It's such a polished game, and there's really nothing that's like game breaking about it. Like there's no glitches or anything like that. It's a very well made game. The music is great. It's one of the best, I think, should be up there as one of the best NES games that you can get for the system. Like I think if you are a beginning collector or somebody that's been collecting, this should be in the library because this is going to be one of those games that's absolutely playable. Here we are 31 years later, and this game still rocks. Like it's fun to play. Music's great. I mean, I don't see why this lost the Terminator license, but this is up there as one of the best looking NES games, I think. Best sounding. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, from the gameplay I watched, it looks like a lot of fun. Like you said, the music was really good. It just looks like an overall good game, and it's one that I didn't really know about, unfortunately, because my playing of the NES, as I've mentioned on the show before, is a little limited. But it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the games that I'd always heard about but never played when I was younger. And there was always that legend that it was, it was supposed to be a Terminator game and all this kind of stuff. But I honestly didn't play it until it hit the Switch. It was one of the first games they released, I think, for the NES on the Switch, and it's great. honestly, I don't like trying to play the original 8-bit games on Switch as a handheld is kind of rough. I think because the D-pad is just it's not great unless you have the
No.
portable Switch with a proper D-pad. So if you're gonna play it on the Switch, I would say get yourself a good controller, maybe an 8-bit DO controller or something with a good D-pad on it to be able to play the game and enjoy it, because it's kind of rough to play it in handheld mode without a proper D-pad.
Crazy how some of those games work out like that on the
Yeah.
Switch.
But I like it. Honestly, it's not a perfect game, but but I think it probably deserves about at least I give it a good 7.5 out of 10. It's not a perfect game. It's probably a little too frustrating for some people, but if you like a good challenge, like if you're into good side-scrolling platformer shooter type games, it's great. And like I said, this deserves to be in the collection. No matter what size your NES collection, this is one of those games that needs to be in it because it was sadly overlooked. And it shouldn't have been. This should be one of those games that people talk about, like as far like this game should be one of those like, oh yeah, I played Journey to Silius. That was a great game. It should be up there with those type of games, but it's kind of not. It's one of those games that had that legend about it that it had the Terminator license, but it's not a Terminator game. And I think a lot of people just kind of passed it up because back then licensed games were crap.
I do have to ask this, and I think this is what all the listeners are wondering. Was it good enough that it washed the taste of Yo Noid out of your mouth?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I I I uh, I could have played anything. I could have played Fester's Quest and it would have gotten the taste of Yo Noid out of my mouth.
That's so crazy to hear you say that.
I honestly don't know which is where. I probably because I haven't played Fester's Quest since I reviewed it in what was that 2016 when I reviewed it.
16 or
So
17, yeah.
maybe the half a decade has washed some of the awfulness off of me, and Yo Noid is such a new awfulness that it kind of overpowered the old awfulness. So I'd have to do a side by side comparison, which one is worse, but I don't want to do that, and I'm never going to.
Sounds like a great idea for a YouTube video.
Yeah, I don't want to do that though.
Well, when you got one stinker next to one stinker, everything comes out smelling bad.
Exactly.
I like that quote.
Yeah, Mixmaster said he needs to mix some Journey to Silius if he comes on, which Mixmaster has done some mixes for us before, and he hasn't mixed anything lately. You need to do some. Live up to your name, Mixmaster. Make some mixes, and I'll play on the show.
Oh, he beat Fester's Quest not too long ago.
I don't know how. How could you?
What sort of demon pack did you make?
Who did you anger? Like, did you have to like play it to save like a kidnapped child or something? Like, that's the only way I would play and defeat that game, is if like one of my friends' lives were in danger. Like, they sent me a video and Derek's like tied up in a basement, and he's like all beat up and stuff, and they're like, you have to beat Fester's Quest or we're going to kill this man. I would beat it then, or at least try.
I'm too flattered to say anything.
maybe that was a bad comparison, but you know what I'm
No,
saying.
no, I got you. No, that was good. I liked it.
The only way I would play that stupid game ever again. But yes, Journey to Silius was a great game. I highly recommend it if you haven't played it. If you got the Switch, you got the Switch Online, go play it on the NES on the Switch. If you find a copy of it out in the wild, definitely pick it up. If you have an old Nintendo, highly recommended. This is definitely up there in the top tier of NES games to own.
Fantastic.
So Derek, what are we doing next week?
So I will be reviewing. I actually be doing a rare review. I rarely talk about NES games on the show, but I will be reviewing Fire and Ice, which is also
Ooh.
available on the Nintendo Switch online store. So been having fun playing that over the last couple of weeks. So that's what I'll be talking about.
Fantastic. So, Tyler, thank you for coming on the show tonight and for our community spotlight. You're definitely a huge presence in our Discord community, and we love having you. And the fact that you are the fact checker to the fact checker just warms my heart because even Wally needs to be fact checked every once in a while.
I'll never forget who actually won that trivia contest between the four of us.
You won, didn't you?
Yeah,
And it was just
yeah.
you. Weren't you on your own team?
That was no, that was when Rutledge had a thing with all of us together
Oh, that's
here.
right. Yeah, we did it
Yeah.
But
online.
yeah, no, the one at the Kraken, that was me and Wally teamed up together. No
Yeah.
one stood a chance.
Yeah, I was carrying my team. My back was hurting by the end of that night. And you guys were like, hey, we beat you. I'm like, yeah, there's two of you. I did
It
pretty
truly
good.
wasn't fair for anyone.
I did pretty good for having a team of like 8 people that knew nothing about video games. So I was the only one answering questions. And I came in second place. So there.
Can't beat that.
But yeah, I wonder if Brandon Rutledge still has that on his YouTube page. I have to go look at that, see that trivia game that we did because you wiped the floor with us that night.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't
mean,
even close.
irregardless of me winning or not, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trivia is great.
Oh, I
loved
love it. But yeah, thank you for coming on, and we'll
Yeah,
see
thanks.
you. We'll see you in the Discord.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. It's
Oh
been a
yeah.
real pleasure.
So Derek,
The pleasure's
what's
all
going
ours.
on? What's going on with the Derek Diamond experience?
So I had a fun show this week because you guys have both seen Godzilla versus Kong,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So I talk about that at length at the beginning of the show, and I also chat with two filmmakers, Christopher Soren Kelly and Jessica Graham, about their sci-fi film The Tangle, which, if you guys are fans of Memento or you've watched it before, it has a little bit of Memento vibes, but it's a cool sci-fi film that I believe is out now on Amazon Prime that I would recommend checking out. So they joined the show to talk about that, and if you want to hear me uh, praise Godzilla versus Kong and crap on the haters of the movie, check out this week's episode of the Derek Diamond Experience on YouTube and all podcasting platforms.
I loved that movie so much.
I want to watch it again,
I
like
know.
right now.
Yes. It's
It's
better than it had any right to be.
giant monsters and ridiculous nonsense science, like just like it makes no sense whatsoever, but it's such a glorious it's glorious stupidity is what it is, and I loved every second of it.
If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. It's so much fun.
And
I love the movie.
I'm trying to finish the Snyder cut. I'm 2 hours in. I made it through 2 hours last weekend. I'll be honest. The slow motion is beyond my capacity to tolerate. I'm sorry.
Oof.
It's
It's
so much slow motion. I can't deal with it. I don't know if I can finish it.
I want to say that at least 10% of that movie is in slow motion. Like it's actually been documented that at least 10% of it is in slow
It's got to
motion.
be more than that.
That's insane.
It has to be. It's got to be at least. It's a 4-hour movie. At least an hour of it. At least an hour has to be slow motion, and I can't take it. Like it just got to the point where I was like, there's only so much slow motion and sad music I can take. I am a emotionally fragile human being. I am affected by the things I watch. Because I've been diagnosed. I was diagnosed 12 years ago with depression and anxiety issues, and the things I watch, affect me mentally. And there's only so much slow motion and sad music I can take, and in one sit down period, and I just couldn't take it after a while. I was like, I got to stop this. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean it's not for everybody, but I still liked it much more than the original. The original was just it was trash.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolute trash.
I'm gonna finish it, but man, what a slog that movie is.
4 hours it's a bit much.
It's too. If you're gonna give me 4 hours of something, give me the 4-hour John Carpenter cut of Big Trouble in Little China. Then I'll sit for 4 hours and watch a movie.
I wonder if this is going to start a trend of like director's cuts
Oh,
coming
you know
out.
it is.
Yeah.
You know it is. We're gonna get the 4-hour, cut of Ted 2. It's coming. You know it's gonna happen.
Bryan Singer's going to petition the 5-hour cut of Superman Returns.
I can't do it.
Let's get that Peter Jackson Return of the King extended cut director's cut.
Yeah.
With an additional 20 endings.
Block out 8 days to watch Lord of the Rings super extended Peter Jackson cut. It's ridiculous.
That just gives me a headache thinking about it.
I got my ex-wife for Christmas one year the Blu-ray, the director's cut. Oh my God, those movies are so long. I thought the theatrical cuts were long. Holy crap.
Well, and the box is like this thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know you're in for
It
a
is a
long
whole
weekend.
weekend's worth of watching.
When you have multiple Blu-ray discs for a movie, you know you're in for a haul. Because Blu-rays hold a lot of information. Yeah, they do.
Pack a lunch.
I'll just take my theatrical cuts, please. But that's going to do it for this show. Go check out the Open Micers podcast. We just recorded our follow-up episode with Compton Smith earlier tonight, and he talked about the time that he got the essence of his manhood in Jacob's face because he wears a kilt. So if you want to hear that story, go check out at Open Micers on Twitter and Open Micers Podcast on Facebook. And I can tell by your face, Derek, you're going to check out that episode.
Yep.
And Compton is now, not only is he a great comedian, but he's a hemp farmer. And I had a lot of questions about growing hemp because I'm an idiot when it comes to botany. And so it's a pretty interesting show. So go check it out. And
Fantastic.
I think that's it for this week. Anything else before we leave tonight?
Nope. All good here.
All right, let's get out of here. If you'd like to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. We're at nerdcaveretro.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at nerdcaveretro and individually at jfunktastic, at Derek_Diamond, and at, how do you pronounce that, Tyler, at Dymo?
Daima, you have to forgive me because I made it when I was a teenager, really edgelord and really weeby.
I'll put it in the show notes. Daima 1985.
There we go.
Go buy our shirts and stuff over at ncrmerch.com. That helps support the show. We're at Facebook, facebook.com/nerdcaveretro. Also on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. If you can't do that, can't give us a couple bucks, can't buy our t-shirts, go leave us a review. It's free wherever fine podcasts are sold. So Derek, tell them what it's all about.
Wow.
A fellow chucker, eh?
You blew it!
Well, that was a fun episode.
It was.
Woo.
Thanks for coming on, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you.
No, seriously, thank y'all for having me. This has just been like 10 kinds of awesome. I'm that weirdo that when I'm listening to a podcast and I'm really engaged in, I'll be that weirdo that talks back. It was nice to actually have some real people to talk back to me.
Welcome to the chat room, Jeff Gignac, and says he first time here and he will be back. Yeah, we do every Wednesday at 8:00 Central, and you can join our Discord. Go head over to at Nerd Cave Retro on Twitter and join. And our link is up there in the bio, and you can join our Discord right there. So you can hang out with us in our Discord all day long. where we share memes and make fun of each other.
And pictures of what we're eating.
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I am going to go ahead and get going. Thank you, everybody, for watching the stream tonight. I won't be streaming this weekend because I have a comedy hosting gig to do Sunday afternoon.
I saw that.
At
That
the
sounds
Green.
really cool.
At the Green on Howard in Biloxi. They're going to have a big outdoor event with comedians and music, and hopefully they're supposed to have a food truck there. They got a brewery doing some giving out some samples of beer, and we'll be doing that this Sunday. It's at 5 p.m. at the Town Green, or the Green on Howard in Biloxi. But thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Have a good one.